All right, Schlockmeister fans, Vincent Price and Peter Cushing, two horror icons. Madhouse. Let's check it out. Our movie starts with some people who are watching some film of an old actor who is by the name of Paul Toombs, played by Vincent Price.
I'm going to marry her.
He announces his engagement tonight to Ellen.
Now Paul has everything.
Well, a little while later, someone is stalking Ellen. Well, shortly after the death of his fiancée, he wakes up and finds the gloves that look like the gloves of the killers. He has no memory of doing anything, did he? Well, he's going to be accused of doing it. They're going to find him mad and put him in a hot way for a few years.
Police used to find him walking up and down Sunset Boulevard in his Dr. Death costume. Well, they finally dragged him off to the funny farm, but by the time he was cured, there was no career left for him.
That's Linda Hayden. He's on a boat coming back to America.
That's nice for you. What do you want?
They want to put him in a TV series.
You're the only man on board worth meeting, and you never come out of your cabin.
And he's clearly been released.
Now I'm here. You might be sociable.
Back in LA, he meets up with his old friend Herbert, Peter Cushing.
I don't need the money. I made a very nice new career for myself now as an actor. But I had to get you here somehow.
I haven't been near Dr. Death for years.
Well, Linda Hayden wants a part in his new TV series, so she basically stalks him. She wanders the grounds of, I guess it's Peter Cushing's home. Well, you saw the cloaked figure in the Dr. Death outfit, and that's a pitchfork in the neck. Just like years earlier with his fiancée, he wakes up with no memory of doing anything. Did he do it? He meets Faye, this crazy lady in the basement. Turns out Faye is married to Herbert. She collects tarantulas and was badly burned in an accident years ago.
Only these guys got scared. They set the car on fire and pushed it down the hill. When I came out of it, I wasn't pretty anymore.
What's that?
The cops.
Oh, it's
Scotland Yard.
Wait a minute, you're supposed to be working on the Peters murders. Oh, I am, sir. The Peters murder was done with a pitchfork. Exactly like the one in this film.
Paul, how are you playing Miss Creighton?
Your assistant, of course.
On the set of his new show.
My assistant? Dr. Death never had an assistant.
Well, I figured we needed a little sex appeal in this series.
He doesn't like the idea of her in the show.
Your school accent is slipping.
All right, everybody, let's quiet down.
And a little while later, that actress he didn't like gets stalked by Dr. Death. Julia, who's basically Vincent Price's assistant at the network, finds the body and she's strangled by her own hair, just like what happened in one of his movies.
The women screaming?
Because I made them scream.
No.
But if I didn't, who did?
Well, it couldn't have been Dr. Death.
Colleagues suggest you don't always know what you're doing, sir.
The cops.
Dr. Death used a pitchfork. He also hanged a girl with her own hair.
You don't think I'd be foolish enough to give myself away by using my old movies, do you?
The director was showing him how this crushing bed works, and unfortunately, he killed himself in it.
Just by chance, he was lying on the bed. This was meant to kill Paul Toombs.
Kill Paul? But who'd want to kill Paul?
This couple who was trying to blackmail Paul meets their death too. And Faye, crazy Faye, is the one who finds the bodies. Now we find out some interesting things. There's 2 Dr. Deaths. So maybe it wasn't Paul all along who was doing this. Maybe he's not crazy. Chase ensues. Leads back to that crushing bed thing again. No victim this time. And Paul escapes. And now the Dr. Death goes after Julia. Paul escaped. Julia's not so lucky. But of course, Paul's the one who's going to find the body. Just like his wife years earlier, fiancé. Paul thinks he's crazy at this point, so he's going to kill himself.
The death of Dr. Death.
The film of his final performance. Now it's yours. I shall treasure this.
Herbert's going to inherit the role of Dr. Death now.
Lights, camera, action, and play the final scene. Death of Dr. Death.
But guess what?
You're dead.
He's not
Why
dead.
did you do it, my friend? You killed Ellen and all of the others.
Clearly we know now that
Wanted everybody to
Herbert
think
was
that
playing
it
the
was
role of
me.
the other Dr. Death.
But I should have played him. Dr. Death is mine. I created the part for myself, but the studio gave it to you. You weren't a better actor. You were nothing until you played Dr. Death.
So Herbert did it all out of jealousy. Now the 2 are fighting. And then Faye comes in and stabs her husband. And sends him sprawling into his or her terrarium full of tarantulas. Peter stays with Faye, listens to a Vincent Price record, and makes himself look like Herbert.
It's your favorite, Paul. Sour cream and red herrings.
Herbert is now being played by Paul. All right, let's talk about the movie Madhouse. It's a movie that I originally acquired, oh God, back in 1997, maybe 1998 or so. I taped it on, I don't know if I taped it or if I rented it and copied it, but whatever. Madhouse stars Vincent Price and Peter Cushing, and Robert Quarry is also in this. Robert Quarry was the star of the Yorga, the vampire movies, Count Yorga movies that I did, reviewed quite a while ago, and he's actually wearing the same costume in this movie that he wears in those costumes. He was in a costume party in this movie playing a vampire, and thus he was still wearing the costume. I think this came after that movie, by the way, those movies. But anyway, Vincent Price has played a character called Dr. Death in a series of horror movies, and at one point his wife died, or his fiance died, and he was put into a mental institution because it was somebody dressed up as Dr. Death, and They thought he just had a nervous breakdown of some sort. He went crazy, temporary insanity, killed his wife as the Dr. Death character. He has no memory of this whatsoever. But anyway, he's put into a home for a while. Eventually, he comes out several years later, and some TV company in Hollywood wants to revive his career by making a Dr. Death TV series. So with the help of Peter Cushing, his friend, they get him over and they're going to put him back in business. But all of a sudden, somebody starts donning the Dr. Death costume again and killing people close to Vincent Price. And so he plays the character of Paul Toombs, by the way. So he starts to think again, am I doing this? What's going on? Am I going crazy? I don't know. Ultimately, we find out that there's actually two Dr. Deaths, because a new Dr. Death, the one who's killing people, is actually chasing Vincent Price around. It turns out, there's a final confrontation in this movie, that it's a friend played by Peter Cushing. Apparently, Cushing had said that he developed the role of Dr. Death, created the role, but the studio gave it to Vincent Price instead. So he's been jealous all these years, so he created the other Dr. Death persona to terrorize Vincent Price. And apparently, if Vincent Price dies, the studio's promised that Peter Cushing will take over the role. So he's trying to kill Vincent Price now. Well, the two of them get into a struggle, and they're in some sort of like gothic dungeon of some sort, of course, where Peter Cushing lives in this basement type thing. And his wife, who's really strange, her name is Faye. She was in a car accident years ago. She has this terrarium of tarantulas in her basement. She ends up stabbing Peter Cushing, and he falls into that terrarium where the tarantulas eat his flesh. And then the last scene in the movie, well, actually, I fast forward a little bit here. Peter Cushing set it up so Vincent Price burned to death, or at least they thought he burned to death. So he died. He was going to take over the role. And then there was that final confrontation, because it turns out Vincent Price wasn't dead. He was burned, but he wasn't dead. So the two of them had that struggle. And then Faye, Cushing's, I guess, now widow, since she stabbed him, tells Vincent Price to basically, hey, darling, get into character. And he ends up painting himself up to look like Peter Cushing. So he's going to take over the role of Peter Cushing, I guess, and be Peter Cushing, and thus continue the Dr. Death role, because that's the role that Peter Cushing was going to get. That's how our movie ends. So everybody's crazy. So anyway, that is Madhouse. Kind of a fun little movie here. Was this put out by Hammer? Samuel Z. Arkoff. American International, yeah, Amicus, not Hammer. But a fun movie. Amicus, I think, made several of those movies back in the early 70s, like Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror and all those. And I guess they made this one too. Same cast that they always use, the British actors. But yeah, it was kind of a cool little film. Linda Hayden is also in this. She's perpetually cute. And yeah, cool movie. I like this one. It was kind of fun. I think it was PG, or if it was rated R, there's really no reason. Yeah, it's PG. No nudity, a little bit of blood, a little bit of violence. Just kind of like a perfect Saturday night 70s horror movie to watch on television late at night on your horror movie host of the week, which I guess now is me, because they don't exist really. I guess they do exist in some places. But anyway, that's Madhouse. It's available on DVD. It might be, I don't think it's available on Blu-ray actually, but whatever the case is, it's not cheap. It's out of print. Kino Lorber put this out. If you're looking to get the DVD, you might pay $50, if not higher, for it. It's not cheap. I think it was also available on one of those midnight movie double DVDs, which again is also not cheap, but you'll get a second movie if you buy that one. But anyway, I'll leave a link to one of those down below. Let me know what you think about Madhouse. Click the link and buy it. Watch the movie. Bye. Leave some comments.